Welcome to this screening of the first in the series of the Fall with Fellini Film School. My name is Wendy Peart, and I'm the Curator of Education at Dunlop Art Gallery, Regina Public Library. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge that I'm currently situated on Treaty 4 territory, the original lands of the Cree, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. I'm going to briefly introduce our presenters for this series, who will each speak for a few short minutes on why they love Fellini. Please note that there will be an online discussion with each presenter on the Thursday following each screening. You can register for these discussions, which will be delivered through Zoom on the RPL website. All of our presenters here for the Fall with Fellini series teach at the University of Regina in the Faculty of Media, Art, and Performance. Francesco Fredolini teaches courses in Renaissance and Baroque art, as well as in the history of collecting and display. His fields of specialty are the history of sculpture, the history of collecting and displaying art, and the relations between art, rituals, and identity in court societies. Sheila Petty is a media theorist. Her work encompasses new media, cinema, television, narrative, and aesthetics, African and African diasporic cinema, television, and web texts, and post-colonialism. Gerald Saul is a prolific Saskatchewan filmmaker whose practices range from traditional and alternative narratives to comical animated films that can be highly abstract, as well as personal experimental films. Christine Els is an artist, filmmaker, special effects artist, and puppeteer. She works as an artist in residence focusing on therapeutic arts intervention with marginalized communities, including seniors and deaf youth. Christina Stojanova is a media historian who focuses on cultural semiotics in Canadian multicultural cinema, the audiovisual media of Quebec, Central and Eastern European media and cinema, interwar German cinema, and on the legacies of Jean-Luc Godard.
Everyone, my role here as director of the Humanities Research Institute, I want to say that I am really thrilled by this initiative. I was excited when in January the colleagues from the U of R's field department that will talk about each film approached me with the idea. After all, I'm Italian and I grew up with Fellini and his myth. And I was, and I am also truly excited that the Dunlop Art Gallery came on board with enthusiasm right away, providing all the support necessary to make this initiative happen. I just want to say that 2020 is not only Fellini's 100th birthday, but it's also an unprecedented year because of this pandemic that has disrupted all of our lives. Most of us will experience the screenings and the discussions in a remote fashion, as speakers included, isolated in our homes. This is not going to be easy to say the least, but I hope that the thought of all of us experiencing the same films and then being in conversation together about those films will help us feel again some sense of community. Fellini's the title of one of his films, one of his most important films, Amarcord, means I remember, and that made me think that maybe we should try and remember. This could be an opportunity to try and remember what it feels to watch a film together and talk about it together. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be part of this project. I first fell in love with Fellini's films when I was a graduate student in Europe, and I watched all of Fellini's films while I was studying cinema. They're so important. They inform so many filmmakers, and they have informed a lot of African filmmakers as well, which has been very important to me. I'll be introducing the film La Strada, which is translated as The Road, and it's a type of journey. And so we're all going to go on a journey together, and I really welcome you to participate in that. Thank you.
When I was in school, Fellini was the ultimate filmmaker, the person we all wanted to be. And who wouldn't want a word or actually an entire style created from your name? His films were beautiful journeys that defied simplification. We could talk about them all day long and never agree about what they were about. And that was the best part. We could and we would talk about them. Fellini was cool, and he made being cool seem effortless.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be part of this project. I will be talking about E-Clowns, the clowns, and it's a very strange, beautiful film. I have a background in clown myself and puppetry, so in addition to loving Fellini, I'm pretty excited to be delving into the history of Italian clowning. I fell in love with Fellini when my dad, who's a psychology professor in Calgary, and a real Italophile. He had Fiats, he drank Italian wine, he wore Italian shoes, and he was a cinephile as well, so he loved cinema. So when he saw that an Italian film was coming to our local rep cinema, the Plaza Theater, he pulled me out of high school. I was, I think, 14, and took me down to the Plaza and subjected me to Satyricon. So that was my first introduction to Fellini, and well, my life has never been the same since. Yeah, I love Fellini. I've loved Fellini since I was 14 years old, and I'm really excited to be part of this project.
Hello, nice meeting you guys. I became a Fellini fan, so to speak, when I was 7 years old. My brother took me to the Nights of Cabiria, which was playing quite late after it was made, so that you didn't think that I'm so ancient. But it was not allowed for children under 15 or 16 years of age, so he smuggled me into the theater, and I was so mesmerized by this film. I couldn't sleep nights in a row. And when I grew up and when I went to a film school, I saw Fellini's work, of course, and some of his films weren't allowed in communist countries, so kind of we watched them in closed screenings, and we were very happy we were able to see them all. And I really love the way Fellini handles surrealism, metaphors, carnival shows, etc., as a form of realism. And that's why he wasn't looked he wasn't considered very progressive by certain communist authorities. But that's the reason I love him, because of this surreal, imaginary, wondrous way of tackling reality. And just to wrap up what Federico said, now it's a real way, it's like, drinking a glass of wine, see a Fellini film, and remember that life still goes on, and this COVID thing would end sometime very soon. Hope so.
Thank you all for sharing with us your deep passion for Fellini and how that developed and has influenced you now working in the arts and in media. So tonight we're going to screen La Strada, and on Wednesday, September 30th at 7 p.m. we will screen 8½, which will be introduced by Gerald Saul. On Wednesday, November 4th at 7 p.m. we will screen The Clowns, which will be introduced by Christine Els. And on Wednesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. we will screen Amarcord with the streaming option of watching La Dolce Vita, which will be discussed by Christina Stojanova. Be sure to register for the discussions that will follow on the Thursday after the screenings, And in order to get your Zoom link, you will register on the RPL website. If you're unsure about how to do that exactly, you can always call the RPL line, phone line at 306-777-6000. Thank you all again, and please enjoy this tonight's screening.